Say hi, good evening, everyone. We just wait a few more minutes, okay? Because I understand that there are more people who registered, but they're not yet in. So we just give them a couple more minutes to join. So for those of you on social media, we are now having our first ever webinar on the growth mindset family. We'll just start in a moment. Thank you, parents, for joining us. I do see a few familiar names, so thank you so much. So those on social media, we're actually on Zoom. So if you'd like to join us on Zoom, so that you can see the slide, you let us know in the chat so we can send you the link to join us via Zoom. Okay, I think we'll just get started. All right, so good evening, everyone. So welcome to our first ever webinar, the Growth Mindset Family, how to cultivate resilience and encourage lifelong learning in your children. I'm teacher Sandra. So today we're diving deep into a topic that might just change how you think about learning and intelligence in your household. Now, have you ever heard your child say, I'm just not good at math. I can't do it. I don't know. So difficult. I give up. Now type yes in the chat if your child has said anything like that before. Can you share with me in the chat? Like, yes, type yes in the chat. If like, yeah. So these are very common responses that I hear from my students. So like from the responses, yes, I'm sure many of you would have heard your own children say this at home as well. So this belief stems from a fundamental misconception that intelligence is fixed, that each of us has a certain amount and that's that. But what if I told you that the brain is more like a muscle? So the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So today we're going to challenge this view by exploring the transformative power of a growth mindset. But first, where did this growth mindset theory come from? Carol Dweck is a renowned psychologist and professor at Stanford University. Best known for her research on the psychology of motivation, personality, and development. She has made significant contributions to the field through her development of the concept of the growth mindset, which she explains extensively in her book, Mindset, the New Psychology of Success. Dweck's work revolves around the idea that individuals can be categorized based on their underlying beliefs about learning and intelligence. Her research suggests that the mindset a person adopts profoundly affects how they deal with tasks and challenges, and ultimately their personal and professional success. So her theories encourage educational systems, workplaces, as well as individuals to foster environments that promote continuous learning, effort, and self-improvement. This approach of hers has not only revolutionized educational approaches, but also has profound implications for management and personal development. Now, when I meet people for the first time, and tell them that I teach math, their response is always, oh, you must be really good at math then. Well, yes, in a way, obviously, you do have to be good at the content or the subject matter that you're teaching. But that really isn't the main part of my work. I've always thought about my role in my students' life as their cheerleader, standing next to them or behind them and pushing them forward. Like, you can do it, you can do it. Like, my job is to help them believe that they can. So just like this quote from a teacher I chanced upon off the internet recently, most of my work as a math teacher isn't even math. It's helping students believe that they can also do math. And in my case, I agree fully. It's totally true. So this topic about growth mindset is something that I am personally very passionate about. And that is why I've written an ebook on the growth mindset, which we will send you via email after this webinar. I'm very excited to be able to share more with everyone today. So let's take a look at what we'll uncover today. There are 5 points. Firstly, fixed mindset versus growth mindset, the key differences. Now, neuroscience tells us that our brains are incredibly adaptable. So research by Carol Dweck and others shows that students who understand that they can develop their abilities outperform those who believe their abilities are fixed. We'll explore how this can change the way your child approaches not just math, but learning in general. The power of yet. Now, adding a simple word like yet to a sentence can dramatically change the message from I'm not good at this to I'm not good at this yet. This small linguistic tweak can open up a world of possibility and effort. The language of growth mindset, what to say and avoid. Now, a language can influence mindset. The words we choose can reinforce either a fixed or a growth mindset. We'll explore that. Why developing a growth mindset matters for your child's future. And lastly, how to raise our children to be problem solvers. So firstly, what's a fixed mindset? Now, individuals with a fixed mindset believe that their abilities, intelligence, and their talents are fixed traits. They think that they have a certain amount and that's it, which this can hinder their motivation and their ability to learn. So this kind of mindset leads to avoiding challenges. They may feel threatened by the success of others, and then they will give up easily when confronted with obstacles. Now, in contrast, individuals with a growth mindset, they believe that their talents, their abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. Now, this perspective fosters a love of learning and a resilience essential for great achievement. Growth-minded individuals, they embrace challenges, they persist through obstacles that come their way, and they see effort, putting in effort as a path to mastery, and they learn from criticism. So they find lessons and inspiration in the success of others, which fuels their own journey to improvement. So why do we talk about this fixed mindset versus growth mindset? Because understanding these differences sets the stage for cultivating a growth mindset, especially in educational environments or at home. Encouraging students and children to embrace learning as a dynamic process. Now let's start with a deeper look at the core differences between a fixed and a growth mindset. Now you imagine 2 students, okay, who receive a challenging problem in math class. So the first student, for example, has always been told that they're naturally good at math. So when faced with a complex problem that they cannot solve immediately, their fixed mindset might lead them to conclude that, I'm not good at math after all, and discourage them from trying further. So this student might avoid challenging math problems in the future to protect their self-esteem, and therefore missing out on valuable learning opportunities. So this same student might give up and reinforce the belief that their abilities are fixed, unchangeable. I'm just not good after all. Now, in contrast, this second student, okay, who embraces a growth mindset, might also struggle with a problem, but thinks, I haven't figured it out yet. So this student continues to engage with the challenge, continue to think about the problem, try different ways and methods, and maybe even seeking help or additional resources. And over time, this second student with a growth mindset learns new strategies and understands that effort leads to improvement, which is fundamental in developing new skills. Now, to foster a growth mindset, teachers and parents can model this behavior by talking about their own challenges and learning processes openly. For example, as a parent, you might say, oh, I used to struggle with presentation and public speaking, but I've gotten better by practicing and learning from each one. And I remembered that my first presentation at work was so embarrassing because I kept stuttering and I kept forgetting what I wanted to say. But then I went for short courses to learn and improve, and I practiced in front of the mirror and family, and eventually I got better. And now it is second nature to me, and I have no problem speaking in front of a crowd. But remember, you can do the same, and things are difficult before they become easy. So this quote is from teacher Jolene. Okay. So the power of yet. Moving on to our second point, okay, let's explore the power of a simple word, yet. Now, the word yet can have a transformative impact on the child's approach to learning. Now, this small addition to any statement of deficiency transforms a fixed mindset into a growth mindset. Now, let's consider the difference between I can't do this and I can't do this yet. Okay, the first statement, I can't do this, is conclusive. I can't do this, full stop. I give up. It's so difficult, right? Then what does the child do? Proceeds to sulk, dwell in negativity and self-doubt, then complain, whine, wait for help, sit and wait to be spoon-fed solution. Common, right? It happens, right? It happens all the time. I see many students with such attitude, right? With such thinking. Now, so how will this child ever learn, or how will this child ever improve, or ever learn new skills with such a mindset? Now, the second statement, I can't do this yet, implies a journey, a possibility that progress is within reach with effort and time. Now, this statement implies that they are on a learning curve, right? Learning. So there are more steps that I can take to learn and achieve this. The power of yet lies in its ability to encourage persistence, right? Because you're not yet there, right? So I persist, right? So that I eventually can get there. Now, it teaches that failure is not a permanent condition. You fail doesn't mean that's it, right? It's not a permanent condition, but rather a crucial step in the learning process. Now, this word helps students understand that their current inability to do something doesn't preclude them from ever doing it. It merely indicates that more learning is required, more learning, more effort. It takes time. So encouraging your child or student to use yet when they talk about their skills and abilities can instill a sense of hope and commitment to growth. Now, each time my students, they face a difficult problem, they would say, I can't do this, I don't know. So we introduce them to the concept of yet, encouraging them to say, I can't do this yet. Now, over time, we observe that the students' attitude changed and they began to approach problems with more persistence and, importantly, less fear for failure. We have to let students know that it's okay to make mistakes. We just need to learn from them. Not keep making the same mistakes, but we make mistakes, it's okay. We just need to learn from them. Now, many times, parents come to me and say, Teacher Sandra, wow, my child, she really got no confidence to try the questions. She just sits there, she stares at the paper, she doesn't even know what to do, what to write. She don't want to write anything, or she don't want to start. Well, very likely, this child is afraid of making a mistake or afraid of failing. She's afraid of the consequences. Like perhaps it may hurt her self-esteem to get it wrong. And importantly, I suppose she has not yet embraced that failure or mistakes are part of learning. So let's encourage our children and our students to use yes by integrating it into classroom or daily routine. Now, parents can reinforce this at home by reminding children to add yet to their statements of inability or frustration. In our third discussion point, we focus on how language influences mindset. The words we choose to use, okay, can reinforce either a fixed or growth mindset. Now, to promote growth, right, we should praise effort, strategy, and progress rather than innate ability. Like, for example, instead of saying, you're so smart, you could say, I really like how you tried all possible methods to solve this problem. So avoid phrases that predicate success on innate qualities, such as, you're a natural. Now, this might discourage effort and risk taking. So instead, encourage statements that focus on the process and growth, such as, every time you try, you improve. So this helps children understand that abilities develop through their actions and learning. Like they got the correct answer, not because they're smart, no, but because they explored various ways and put in the effort to try. Now, at this point, I'd like to invite you to share with me what kind of phrases can we give our children if we don't say things like, you're so smart, good job. Like what kind of phrases can we give our children that praises effort, strategy, and progress? Can you think about it? Like, do you have some kind of idea? Maybe you can like share with us in the chat. Instead of saying so smart, good job, like on their innate qualities, what kind of stuff can we praise them about to praise them on their effort, on what the effort they put in or the progress they've made? Nobody? Okay. It's okay. I'll be sharing more then, okay, so that you will have more ideas on like how we can actually go about this. Now, the words we use profoundly impact how children view their abilities and their potential for growth. Now, for instance, when a child says, I'm just no good at this, I'm so stupid, I'm so careless, I'm not good at math or science or any other subject. So redirect them by asking, what have you tried so far? What else can you try? So here are several more examples of how to phrase praise effectively. So just now we mentioned we should praise effort over ability. So we can say things like, I can see you worked really hard on this. Or your dedication to practicing really shows in how you improved. I'm impressed by how much time you spent tackling this challenge. Now we can also encourage persistence, right? Like to say that, oh, you didn't give up even when it got tough. That's how you grow. Or we can say it's great to see you continuing to try different strategies. Or we could also say your persistence is really paying off. Now, we should also acknowledge the learning process, and we can say things like, oh, I noticed you used a new strategy this time. Like, what made you decide to try that? Or where did you learn that from? You've learned so much from last time. Look at how that helped you to improve. And we can also say, you're really learning to do this well. I can tell because of how you handled this part. How about celebrating challenges as opportunities, right? When they meet with something tough. So that was a tough problem, but you stuck with it and learned something new. That's a big win. You might not have got it right yet, but you learn a lot about how to approach it next time. And facing challenges like this one makes you stronger and smarter. We should also highlight resilience and to say that, oh, even though it was hard, you kept going. That resilience is what helped you succeed. You handled that setback really well. It's impressive how you bounce back and keep going. And your ability to recover from mistakes and keep going is incredible. And the last one is one of my favorites. Now, encouraging reflection and self-assessment. I always like to ask my students this. What do you think you learned from this experience? How do you feel about the progress you've made? And what would you try differently next time based on what you've learned? So what I just shared, earlier, all those phrases, they do more than just acknowledge their success. They highlight the behavior that leads to success, such as hard work, strategy adaptation, and perseverance. So by using this language consistently, you help to reinforce a growth mindset that values learning and effort over inherent talent or quick wins. Now, this approach is critical in helping students or children develop resilience and a lifelong love for learning. In classrooms and at home, teachers and parents can post phrases that promote a growth mindset around the room, around the house or bedroom, study table, learning area, as reminders for both the students and themselves. So phrases like mistakes help me learn, I learn from feedback, challenges help me grow, can be powerful. Now at Math Nuggets, we have these plastered all over the wall. So in my class, I ban students from saying negative things. I'm so stupid, this is so difficult. Now, many times when a new student comes to me, especially the struggling ones, the first few weeks or even months are spent helping them cultivate the right mindset. It can sometimes be a power struggle to see who prevails, negativity or positivity. So, but we also have to practice reflective listening. When children talk to us about their challenges, we have to validate their feelings, but guide the conversation towards growth-oriented language and solutions. So maybe, for example, like when I see my students struggle with particularly difficult questions, especially the P6 questions, I found them really quite crazy. So I tell them that, hey, I too had a difficult time, and I also spent a long time trying to understand and solve. But it's okay. We just try to break it down into parts. How about we see what is the first step, we can take? How about what's the first thing we can find? So by the time you practice the third or fourth question, I tell them, you understand it better and it'll be easier for you by then. Now let's discuss why. Why it's vital to nurture a growth mindset in our children. Like all this talk about the growth mindset, right? Like, but why? Why? Why is it vital? Now, a growth mindset not only impacts academic success. Now, we're not only talking about study success, scoring AR1 for all four subjects, but also personal and professional aspects of life in the future. Now, let's face it, life is hard. But can you type yes in the chat if you agree that life is hard? Adulting is hard, right? Like I've been an adult for many years and it's still hard, no? In fact, it gets harder. So embracing challenges and persisting through difficulties, bouncing back from setbacks, learning from feedback. These are all qualities that prepare our children to handle the demands and setbacks in life. They are going to fail at times. They are going to make mistakes. They may make the wrong turn, lose opportunities, not win at competitions. So children with a growth mindset are more likely to embrace challenges and see them as opportunities to learn and improve rather than obstacles that lead to failure. So can you imagine a child not taking failure positively, thinking that it's the end of the world, thinking that it's the end of the road for them just because they failed at something? Now, it's actually quite sad, It's really something that I don't want to imagine because depending on the severity of things, it can get really dark and things can spiral downwards really quickly from there, like their mental health and things like that. So this growth mindset prepares them for lifelong learning, a critical attribute in today's ever-changing world. And moreover, fostering this mindset can alleviate the fear of failure and encouraging more innovative, creative efforts, which are highly valued in the modern workforce today. So I'm sure these are all things that we want for our children. Now, finally, let's talk about how a growth mindset translates into raising problem solvers. Now, a growth mindset equips children with resilience and adaptability, qualities which are essential for tackling complex problems. So when children learn to see problems as puzzles rather than obstacles, they approach them with curiosity and determination. So encourage your children to view challenges as opportunities to grow. So when faced with difficulty, guide them to ask what I can learn from this. What can I learn from this experience? Rather than, why can't I do this? I'm so lazy. Why I cannot? So ask them, what can you learn from this instead? So now this shift not only impacts their approach to academic subjects like math, but also teaches valuable life skills, preparing them to navigate the world with confidence. Now at home, parents can encourage problem solving by allowing children to perhaps make small decisions about their learning environment or their schedule. So discuss the outcome and what they learned from those choices to reinforce the growth mindset. Now, let me share with you a student that I had back in 2019 who sat for PSLE. Okay, her name is Megan. And every year after the PSLE math paper especially, there would be massive discussion about the tough questions. Okay, parents and students will engage in sharing and discussion. It will be all over the internet and news, right? And then leading to stress in some students post-exam. So stress and anxiety that they probably got some answers wrong and may not do well. So Megan's mom sent me this text. So she was telling me that after the math paper, Megan shared that her classmates stepped out of the exam hall and started crying. Very common after exam, right? Very emo. They started discussing with their friends, right? Their classmates, my answer different from yours, wrong. And they get emo and stressed and so afraid that, of getting not ideal scores. So then she was saying that, okay, they got too excited. So mommy was very careful about her feelings, but daddy and brother and Megan, they started discussing about the difficult question that came out that year. And then daddy was like, wrong. This is how I'll do it. Then mommy was like, shh, don't discuss really. But Megan said something. Okay, Megan's reply was that I know I got it wrong, but I still want to find out the right way. So Megan's mom herself was pleasantly surprised, and I'm sure very proud of her girl for displaying such a positive mindset to learning. When faced with failure and a mistake, she actually didn't get that question right, but she was okay. She's like, never mind, it's okay. I get it wrong, never mind, but I still want to know how to do it. Like, what's the right way? So now at this juncture, I would like to invite you to think about this. What is one area where you could start fostering a growth mindset in your home? And how might this shift in perspective help your child tackle not just math, but any challenge that they face? Now, while I leave you to ponder, okay, here are some actionable tips that I leave you as a summary of what we discussed so far. Mistakes as learning opportunities. Now, as an educator, I've seen firsthand how students who embrace their mistakes as learning opportunities thrive. Encourage your child to talk about what they learned from a mistake, not just what went wrong. Now, get the wrong answer already, right? Then like, okay, it's okay. Let's find out what went wrong. Okay, oh, you almost got it. You managed to draw the model correctly, but I think you may have missed out some information. Do you want to take a closer look and tell me what that might be? How do you think you can prevent that from happening again? How do you think you can do better next time? Praising the process, just like what was shared earlier, it is crucial to focus on the effort, not just the outcome. Praising your child for their perseverance and strategy, like what they did to tackle the problem, encourages them to keep pushing and growing. Use growth mindset praise in everyday situations. And setting achievable challenges. So it's about pushing just beyond what you think you can do to keep the brain engaged. So set stimulating yet achievable goals and challenges. Now, as we wrap up, I would like to take a moment to share just a little more about our beliefs and our approach at Math Nugget. That learning is based on building blocks. Now, we're committed to supporting students at their level to instill confidence that they need in order to work their magic. Now, I always like to share with parents this, that each building block learned works as a new foundation to build on. It is important to identify learning gaps early and bridge them before students move up the level with a shaky foundation. And that's what our Math Nuggets Problem Sum Masterclass is built upon. Our PSMC is broken down into 5 modules with the end goal of acing PSLE Math Paper 2 in mind. So 5 modules and 13 weeks per module is a systematic learning program in heuristics and strategies. And in order to accurately support your child at his or her level, there will be a pre-enrollment diagnostic test to assess their level of competency. And that will determine the module that they start from. And to thank you for joining us today and attending our first ever webinar, we would like to extend a 20% discount off the program, which is savings of $180. And if your child is currently not with Math Nugget and you are interested to find out more about our offerings, we also conduct small group classes from primary 1 to secondary 4. We're going to be waiving the $50 registration fee if you enroll after this. We will be sending you these offers and details together with our ebook to your email address. Now, yeah. So at this point in time, before we wrap up, does anyone have any questions or feedback or any comments? You can let me know in the chat. No? But if there's anything you want to ask or like talk about later on, you can always say after this and then just let me know in the chat, okay? So wait, okay. So thank you so much for taking time and joining us tonight for our first ever webinar. We're excited to hear your thoughts and your experiences. So please share them with us via WhatsApp by scanning the QR code. Now let's create a community where every child knows that with effort and persistence, they can go beyond their current limitations. Now this session is not just about enhancing math tuition in Singapore. It's about transforming how we think about potential and intelligence. Join us in reshaping the future of our children's education. So let's unlock the boundless potential together. Good night.